Would someone out there make a motion or a gesture that they can hear the audio?
Yeah, you're making this.
Are there any announcements? Abstract of claims, Mr. Van Cleek?
I'm busy fixing my mic. We reviewed the abstract of claims today, and we present that we have $1,287,950.20 in prepaid bills, $205,493.51, and just the standard abstract bills. Yeah, an escrow movement of $9,405. Reserve movement of $1,472.06 for a total reviewed of $1,504,320.77. It was a lot of paper. And a lot of signatures.
I make a motion to pass the abstract.
No move. Thank you.
Any discussion? For the record, the reason that the abstract is so high is that the town's pension payment has been made to the controller's office, and that was at the 900, about 800,000 in the general fund of the 900,000.
Yeah.
All those in favor of the abstract? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to the presentation and acceptance of the town clerk's monthly report for the month of November. Before I call for a vote, is there anything you wish to note in the report? May I have a motion to accept the town clerk's report as presented? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item is a presentation and acceptance of the supervisor's monthly report for the month of November 2022. There is nothing that stands out in that report. It is the 11th month of the year, and we will be wrapping up in December, and January will be more indicative of the true results of the town. I have a motion. Do I have a second? Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item is a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the 2023 tax collection agreement with the Bank of Greene County for the collection of the 2023 taxes. Do I have a second? I have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next three items are in relation to the town of Ulster's firing range that are used under shared services with the following agencies. I would like a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the 2023 range agreement with the Kingston Police Department. Do I have a second? Discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item is to authorize the supervisor to sign the 2023 range agreement with the New York State DEC. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item is a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the 2023 range agreement with the Ulster County Law Enforcement Training Group. That is for the use of the training academy. I got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. The next item is a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the 2023 range agreement with the County of Ulster. This is for the Sheriff's Department and Corrections. May I have a motion? Do I have a second? Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item on our agenda is a motion to authorize the purchase of one 2023 Ford F-350 XL Super Cab 4x4 for the Water Department under Onondaga bid 0010808 from Van Bortle Ford, not to exceed $58,922.43. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Secreto, the next three items in relate to personnel hirings in the police department, I give you the floor.
Yes, there's three hires. There'll be 90-day temps. Got it here. I'll do, employee's name is Javier Casadena. I'm saying that right, chief? Casadena. Title police officer comes from the police department general fund. It'll be a full-time position, civil service competitive. Union, yes, under the PBA, full coverage with health insurance. Step 3, wage is $27.65. Start date is January 1st, 2023. That would be the first hire. I asked for a motion to hire Javier as a 90-day temp.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
The next two are making the same wage. I'll read them together. Noah Kite, the police officer, police department, general fund, full-time, competitive, union position, the PBA. Health insurance, it's a full-time, he'll take a buyout. With step 2, wage is $26.77. Also, the start date is January 1st, 2023. The second officer, his name is Jacob Stute. Titles police officer, comes out of the police department, general fund, full-time, competitive, union position, yes, with the PBA. Also a buyout. Step 2, wages $26.77. Start date is January 1st, 2023. This comes at the request of Chief Berardi. I asked for a motion to hire those two 90-day temps.
I have a motion and I have a second. Any discussion?
None.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. That completes the hiring of 3 full-time officers on a 90-day temp basis effective January 1, 2023. The next item on our agenda is a motion to authorize the placement of the town's property and casualty insurance for the year 2023 with Travelers Insurance Company. The premium is been increased by 6.5% and is reflective of a 47% loss ratio for the 2022 year to date. This is primarily driven by the ice storm that occurred in February of this year, where we had approximately $20,000 in vehicle damage and numerous damages from fallen trees to town fences and gates. So may I have a motion to authorize the placement of the town's insurance? Do I have a second? Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Several meetings ago, this town board approved the execution of a memorandum of agreement outlining the terms and conditions for a future labor agreement with the town of Ulster PBA for the period January 1, 2023 through December 31st, 2027. The documentation of that agreement has been completed, and in our package tonight is a resolution to authorize the supervisor to sign the collective bargaining agreement by and between the town of Ulster and the town of Ulster PBA for the period of January 1st, 2023 through 12/31/2027. May I have a motion, please? Do I have a second? Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. in our fee schedule, which is coming up in the organization meeting, is a schedule of fees related to parkland and recreation fees being charged to new apartment complexes in the town of Ulster. Under the town's law, in order to adjust those fees, the town board is required to adopt a local law. Tonight, I am presenting a local law number blank of 2023, a local law to modify section blank of the town zoning code, a local law known and cited as parkland and recreation fees. This is to be presented to the town board and published on the town's website for public dissemination. At the next meeting, we will set the date and time for a public hearing on this and move through our legislative process. The next item is a discussion on the request from Pacero Associates on behalf of the Kingston Ulster Airport for permission to remove trees on town property in the flight path at the airport. We have heard the public comments. I would ask that this item be removed from the agenda tonight, pending a discussion with Pacero on environmental offsets. But to respond to the comments that were made, these are mandated by the FAA as the town's property is directly in the flight path. And the trees present a safety hazard to the operational use of the airport. So, any discussion from the town board on this matter? Thank you. The town board frequently has the opportunity to accept retirements from town employees. Tonight, Officer Castor cannot be here. So the town will entertain a motion to declare K-9 dog Castor retired and authorize his transfer to Sergeant Gavilla in exchange for $1. Sergeant Gavilla will assume responsibility for his care in the final days of his life. And I ask that this motion be declared in good standing.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. You're gonna cry? The next item on our agenda is the appointment of a town justice to replace retiring Judge Weiss. Personnel Committee met, interviewed 5 candidates. And I would like to put forward the name of Kelly Flood Myers, an attorney, former town justice in the village of Red Hook, and the town of Red Hook, to replace Judge Weiss for the period of February 1st through December 31st, 2023. Please be clear in this. This is an appointment to fill the unexpired term. Whoever the candidates may be to run for this office for the period subsequent to January 1, 2024. They will be selected by parties and face the call for the question on the election ballot in November 2023. I open the floor for discussion.
Board members, supervisor. 2 years ago, you put me in chairman of personnel, along with Clayton Van Cleek. There's not a person that gets hired within this town that doesn't meet with us before they are hired by the town. I mean, that's police department, water, wastewater, highway, clerk, summer help. We've been honest with everything we did. But somewhere along the line, the name that we put forward to be hired as a judge, politics got in the way. And I think that party knows damn well who they are. They held a caucus at the last second, probably to sway some votes here from the board. I'm not swaying away. I was hired as a town board member, not a Democrat, not a Republican. I do my job. I do my job real good.
Where
I'm voting no.
for somebody.
Any other comments?
Where? TIA or?
I didn't mention you.
I have spoken to some colleagues in Mrs. Flood, in her field, and she highly recommended. That's where I made my decision. Okay. We have a motion, we have a second, we've had discussion. All those in favor? Aye.
Roll call, please.
I will call them action. Please provide a roll call.
Councilwoman Hayner. Councilman Kitchen. Supervisor Quigley,
Yes.
Councilman Van Cleek,
Abstaining due to a misunderstanding.
Councilman Secreto,
Motion passes 3-1-1. Next item is a motion to authorize the hiring of Ms. Flood for as a temporary part-time clerk under special emergency conditions to coordinate a transition in the Office of Town Justice Court effective the first business day of January 2023 to the date that she is sworn in. Do I have a second? I will call a roll call vote on that matter also.
Councilwoman Hayner, Councilman Kitchen, Supervisor Quigley,
Yes.
Councilman Van Cleek,
Abstaining.
Councilman Secreto,
Motion passes 3-1-1. Final action on tonight's agenda is a late addition. Mr. Secreto, the floor is yours to update the board and the community on the progress of the Town of Ulster Biddy Basketball League for 2023-2024.
Yeah, it's COVID hit us for the last 2 years. So we weren't allowed to use the school gymnasiums. We're banned for them because of the COVID. So this year we finally were allowed to use Chambers School and Crosby School. We have 100 kids. We have 15 teams of girls and boys. Also, we have 30 sponsors which have donated money towards our league. We're starting Monday. Official games will be running between 6 and 9 o'clock at those two schools. And it's just good to have the kids back out playing again.
Have we had any problems obtaining facility space?
We
for this
used to have
league?
Miller School. We didn't get Miller School this year, but what I've been told is that with Deep Stadium being renovated, a lot of outdoor practices, girls field hockey, lacrosse and things like that have been taken into the bigger gyms.
Is this something that we can look forward to changing when they finish the renovation of Deep Stadium?
Yeah, I think that's like 2 or 3 years down the road, isn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's a big project they have going up there, but yeah, we could have, if we had Miller School, we wouldn't be so cramped for practices right now. We're using half gyms, 4 teams on one court right now.
Do you have any idea as to whether Coleman is being used for CYO?
No, I don't.
Would that provide an alternative facility for us if we
Oh, it
were able
would,
to
yeah,
gain access?
yeah, the big boys can go out there and play, yeah.
Let me see if,
They've always had that pothole there.
okay, well, let me see if I can do something about that. Thank you for your report.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our agenda for tonight. I'm opening the floor for general comment on any matter. Mr. Obajeski?
Good evening Supervisor, members of the board, Regis Obajeski, 170 Ledge Road, Town of Ulster. Looking for an update. There's been some discussion among people in the community about the glide path and its future here in our town. The last public discussion that I can recall was that there was a supply chain issue with regard to the availability of lithium ion batteries. And I don't know if that's still the case. I understand Peter Rude, who was one of the executives at Glide Path, is gone. I reached out to him just to ask him. We reached out to Eric Hansen, who was the chief development officer, and she's no longer with the company. I understand that Chris McKissick, whom I've met, is the CEO of Glide Path. But if you can enlighten us about the condition or the future of the Glide Path project, and just east or to the right of the solar array, the county solar array, we'd be appreciative.
I will tell you what little I know. Mr. McKissick made a commitment to have a conversation with me and update the town on the status of the project over 2 months ago. He has not called me back. I have heard through the industry, there is a package in the hands of an investment banker trying to sell the 4 sites in New York State that Glide Path had controlled for these projects. That's all I can tell you.
Mhm.
I will tell you, I did speak to Central Hudson. And because of non-performance with Glide Path in paying Central Hudson has sent them a termination letter on their interconnection agreement.
Yeah, not good.
I also spoke to the NYSERDA in reference to the subsidies that they were given.
Mhm,
They had no knowledge of any of what I just said.
mhm. Did you reach out to the parent company of Glide Path,
Quinbrook,
Quinbrook?
I have no contact at Quinbrook.
Okay, so we don't know. Okay, all right. Well, thank you. As you do know, I'm sure you'll tell us. So,
When I know, you'll know.
thank you. Okay.
Ms. Saunders? Sanders?
Once again, my name is Kaylin Sanders and I'm a Glenary Boulevard resident. I want to go on the record that this is the 3rd time that I've come to a board meeting in person or virtually, and I've asked for a response to our letter regarding the concerns, hazardous conditions, and potential environmental disasters we have over on Glenary Boulevard regarding the Central Hudson 9W training facility project. We've even submitted a letter to the editor to the Shawangunk Journal and still no response from you. What is it going to take? Mr. Kimball with the Daily Freeman has insinuated that our issues are an exaggeration. However, both he and the public should know that litigation has now begun and filed by a perimeter resident on Katrine Lane against Central Hudson for the very same issues we have on Glenary Boulevard and that we've cited. Central Hudson has now cut off what was regularly quarterly communication with most of our group due to this pending litigation. And given that most of us don't want to get to that point, going to the town who greenlit the project in the first place without studying how these issues would affect our neighborhood and could rectify some of these issues that we've stated is our only recourse. So once again, on behalf of myself and over 50 tax-paying citizens that live around the perimeter on Glenary Boulevard, Eastern Parkway, 9W, and Katrine Lane, citizens that pay your salaries, I'm asking again that the town address our concerns in the area of flooding, noise and light pollution, and visual screening, as stated in our letter from 8 months ago. When can we expect a response?
So may I ask a question?
Yes.
About a week before your letter appeared in the Shawangunk Journal, did you notice the town construction equipment on Glenary Boulevard addressing the flooding issue that was directly in your front yard?
We noticed,
you notice
yes,
it? And has it
after
been
it
corrected?
sat there for 2 months with an open hole that CSX left. And we're getting conflicting messages. Is this CSX that's addressing all of this? Is it the town? And why is the town paying for a situation that was caused
Oh,
by
So
Central Hudson?
we fixed the drainage issue.
You
and
did
that-
not fix the situation,
We
sir.
fixed the drainage issue on Glenary from the culvert
You do not
draining.
know that.
We do not know that.
You do not know that until we have a massive storm. The issue that we believe is the problem, is the size of those culverts. There's no way that the size of those culverts that are going under the tracks can handle all the runoff coming from Central Hudson. And the reason we know that is because it all dumps down into the pond, which is the reason for the litigation down at
Okay.
the other end.
Um,
So that is one of,
Were you
that is just one
aware-
of many of
Were
our
you
concerns. there.
aware that CSX and Central Hudson have come to an agreement where Central Hudson has been given permission to maintain that pond and in fact has lowered the level of that water in that pond 4 feet?
I was told that there was a meeting between all parties involved and we were never communicated with about what to expect, a timeline, and how this was going to affect any of us.
The work has been done. The drainage has been fixed. Now, I will say the lawsuit by your neighbor has stopped the town from correcting the issue on the west side of the tracks
Why would that be, sir?
because we asked for a legal document holding us harmless to correct the problem. And his lawyer said, we may sue the town too. So we have been advised by our counsel not to proceed with any work and not to respond to any comments from the litigant in reference to that
This
project.
suit happened within the last few weeks. My
That is
letter
correct.
is from 8 months ago, and it has much more, many more concerns than just flooding, which have not been addressed by the town. This project was vetted by the board based on a planning department meeting. There's no record of the extensive research that was done to vet this project.
That's,
and so
that you
we're
will-
looking
we will
at you-
Disagree with you on that.
Okay, well, we can go back to that, but the fact is that we are now cut off from communicating with Central Hudson about the rest of these issues that were created by vetting this project and exist on town property. So we're asking you to step in and
It
address,
does what?
the
It-
ones that you
it's on town property?
yeah, visually screening, noise pollution, sound pollution. The flood issue is totally separate. I agree with that.
Your letter demanded that the town go to the DEP to address the flooding of the Esopus Creek.
We wanted
That
to
was
hold
your
you
exact
accountable.
word. Your wording was demand the town of Ulster to go to the DEP to have them deliver the flood control that they promised.
Yeah.
That's the wording, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
that was one of the many
That's
things
one.
we asked
But
for.
let me ask you a question. Do we have statutory authority over the New York State E DEP?
We're asking you to keep your commitment in holding them accountable. And that's all that we're asking in our letter is we're asking for studies. I mean, bare minimum, let's do a study on noise. What could actually help here? Let's do a study on visual screening, all these different things that we've cited that the town could undertake, that Central Hudson keeps kicking the ball down the field. And the fact is that the entire situation was created by you greenlighting this project. So how can you help us? There are other issues along Glenary Boulevard that you have stepped in on, whether it be the construction site or the noise from the train, which by the way is exponentially louder because of this, especially for the southern end of
One
Glenary
of the
Boulevard.
issues that
We're
you
asking
raised,
for the same treatment.
one of the issues that you raised in your letter was the potential contamination
Yes.
of the groundwater. Do you realize that there are reports from the Ulster County Health Department in the mid-80s where the groundwater in Glenary was contaminated?
Right. It used to be it used to be a lumber yard.
No, it's got nothing to do with the lumberyard. I can get you the letters that cite the reason.
I would like an update from the 1980s as far as testing. We've asked for
Okay.
well water testing. Mark Ryder agreed to well test it, and now he's left office.
Do you realize the town spent over $2 million putting a municipal water system into the Glenary neighborhood?
I don't know the exact
Okay.
amount, but I know that neighbors are on well water that are in
Okay.
direct path from that
There
runoff
is-
from Central Hudson.
There is a legal obligation under the town code for all those neighbors to connect within 90 days of the completion of the system. The completion of the system was in 2004. Now, if you want me to, I will notify 9 of your neighbors that they have to connect immediately. But as long as they continue to use their water and they're happy and they're testing it
So
on
what,
their own, we will give them accommodation to avoid the $10,000 it's going to cost each one of them to connect.
We shouldn't have to pay for that testing. Mark Ryder at the county
We're
level
not talking
agreed
about the
to
testing
pay
now.
for the
We're
testing.
talking about compliance with the town of Ulster law that required the homeowners to connect to the water system within 90 days.
All right, but
You
that
want to
doesn't
deliver that
address,
notice?
listen, that doesn't address the actual issue, which is the water safe? We're swimming in that water. It's coming down off the central site. We're all downstream from that water. I don't care about compliance. I don't care about septic. I don't care about any of that. What I care about is what are people ingesting, swimming in? And if you don't care about that, and this is all a technicality for people to get in compliance, then that
Sure.
is a problem, that if
So
that's what you're
Go to
deferring
River,
to.
go to Riverkeeper's website and check the biological reports that they have published for about 4 sites along the Esopus. The
Yes,
Esopus
do
is
check
not
that.
swimmable, and it has not been swimmable for years, long before Central Hudson did this project.
so you're saying adding to it is
No, I'm not
just
saying adding to it.
okay?
We have no evidence that they're adding to it.
Okay, but let's get the evidence. Let's get that water tested. It's not that expensive. And none of these homeowners, none of these residents, we're being squeezed between 2 environmental disasters, a potential train derailment with water going under the tracks that's right across from our houses, and then the DEP releases with muddy releases that are eroding our property. We're literally a strip of Glenary Boulevard being squeezed, and we're asking for the town's help. Our entire quality of life has been compromised, from beeping to blasting to lack of wildlife on every single factor. It's like living next door to, chaos every day.
Did the
We're
train go
asking for your
past
help.
your house when you bought it?
Yes, but it was 10 times less noisy than now with 50 acres being deforested. There's no sound buffer. It literally bounces off the water. What I'm trying to say, sir, is it's too late. We can't put the genie back in the bottle. What I'm asking for is your help at a town level to mitigate some of the things that were caused by this project. That's all I'm asking for, an official response to that. That is all I'm asking.
We were
for.
mitigating it. We were in the process of constructing a reconstructed stream bed to convey the water from a naturally occurring stream until there was a lawsuit.
Have
we
you communicated
connected-
to that? Have you communicated that to the neighborhood in any way?
No, because it's a private lawsuit between,
I'm not talking
Mr.
about the
Boyce-
lawsuit. I'm talking about if you have things that are in the works that you have done that are helping us, let us know and tell us, because all we're seeing is a big hole in the ground that sat there for 2 months.
no, the
that was a
hole's not
safety-
there now.
I know that it sat there for 2 months. It was a safety concern and breeding mosquitoes. We don't know what you're up to unless you communicate with us.
Point of order, please.
Sir,
I believe that this time in our meeting is for public comment and not back and forth discussion between board members and people. So we have got your comments.
Great.
Okay, we
Thank you.
will do our best to get back to you.
I appreciate
But
it.
I don't think that this continued conversation is getting.
I
anywhere.
agree. Thank you.
any additional public comment? Second? All those in favor? Aye, thank you very much.
Yes. Yeah, I guess.